Hello, good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Wherever you are watching us live on the Direct Talk Show. This program has been designed to educate you, inform you, so you can make an informed decision. As you know, every Sunday, 7 p.m. UK time, we have discussion on this particular platform about Ghana. Today, we're going to look at a very important topic. This year, Ghana will be going to the polls. It's an election year. As a result of that, the EC, the Electoral Commission, has come up with some proposals and changes to the electoral process. Today, we're going to look at some of the changes that the Electoral Commission has proposed that has caused some sort of concern for a couple of Ghanaians or many Ghanaians around the world. And that is what we are going to look into today. You are watching us live on Facebook and YouTube. You can share the link with your friends and family so they can also join the program. Add your comment, send in your questions, send in your comment. We will read it, we will answer your questions. You can watch us live on Facebook at Have Your Take Media. You just go Facebook, you search in the search bar, Have Your Take Media, and we'll be there live. And on Facebook, that is Facebook, and on YouTube, it's HYT African TV, HYT African TV. You can also follow us on Instagram at HYT Africa on Instagram. And as I said, if you've got any question in regards to what we're going to talk about, you simply can WhatsApp me or put in your questions on our Facebook page or on our YouTube page, and we will answer your question. Today, I've got three important personalities to help me do this discussion, help me, dissect this particular topic. On the first on my list is Kate Jones. Kate Jones, a learning and development practitioner, UK, and I've got Alcee Richie Ahija, Pro Forum USA. And I also have Divine Agoti, Pro Forum Communications Director, UK. People, you are welcome to the Direct Talk Show.
Thank you.
Thank you.
As I said, we got to talk about the EC. This year is an election year. And the EC, led by Jim Mensah, has come out with some proposals, and I think it is causing some sort of confusion and concerns among many Ghanaians. And that is what we are looking at, particularly in the area of indelible ink. I remember when I started voting, any voting that I've been part of, we have indelible ink to prevent people from voting twice or multiple voting. But we've been told by the EC that this coming election, we're not going to have that particular ink. However, I'm wondering how we're going to prevent people from voting twice. Now, to help me do the discussion, that is the reason why I've got these strong panelists on the platform. Let me start with Divine.
Thank you.
I know you have seen and heard about the EC's proposal in regards to the indelible ink. And so, do you think that proposal plays a role in ensuring transparency and accountability in the electoral system?
Thank you. Thank you, Dr. Austin. Hello to all viewers. The EC's proposed reforms to do away with the indelible ink from our elections, to me, I do not think is a good enough proposal for our country. We have countries such as India, for example. India is way advanced in terms of technology than Ghana is. Even the United Kingdom, if you are going to the polls and you go and queue to vote, they brought this indelible ink into the system for some time now. The essence of this is to avoid voting fraud or double voting or people voting multiple times. Now, the EC is proposing or is saying that because we use the biometric voting device that will be used to identify individuals or voters, we have enough IT system to be able to have a fair and a transparent election without the indelible ink. First of all, we all know that even these IT systems have faults. In fact, when we go for hardwares have their deficiencies, and sometimes they don't even inform you, or you don't get any alert before they stop working. When we go into software can stop working all of a sudden, and all of us are professionals. We work in our various offices, and we have seen softwares fail. Back in 2020, some of these biometric machines didn't work, so they had to resort to the manual way of actually identifying individuals or individual voters. So the fact that we are going to have this biometric system to identify voters, that does not give us the guarantee that people will not vote multiple times if we don't have the indelible link. Why? Because human beings are behind that system, and every command for that system is input by human beings. So I don't believe that the EC has control over that. And anyone can be talked to. I can go to a polling station. If I know the IT persons behind that system, I can have a relationship with them in a way that I'll find my way to vote a second time if I don't have that indelible ink on my index finger. So I don't believe it. So from technical perspective, that system can fail, and we'll resort to the manual system of voting. And if the system doesn't fail, we also have human beings or the human factor behind these systems that can say, okay, this person has been identified, been authenticated to vote, and they will go ahead and vote. And probably that would have been their second or third time of voting if they don't have the indelible ink. So I don't think it's a good enough proposal for Ghana at this time. And I believe that we should use it. We should use the indelible ink, just as the EC used it for even the NPP most recent parliamentary primaries, even though the EC refused to use it during the district assembly elections. Why did they use it for the NPP elections? Because they wanted to avoid people voting multiple times. So if the EC refused to use that during our local government elections, but then decided to use it for the ruling party, that alone is not showing that the EC is going to be free and fair. It's not going to show that the EC is being transparent and being independent in its way of doing things. So in this case, I don't think stakeholders would agree to that. And speaking from a professional perspective, I don't think that the removal of indelible ink from the system will help, relying only on the IT systems or capabilities that we have within our electoral system. Thank you.
All right. Thank you, Tifang, for sharing your opinion. You made mention of Ghana card. Now, according to the EC, that is what we're going to use to vote. Now, I will come to Mr. Richard. What about if I don't have a Ghana card? What is going to happen to me? Because I believe that not every Ghanaian citizen over the age, voting age like 18 and above, I've got a card. Now, for instance, I live in the UK. Sometimes I go to Ghana to vote. Unfortunately, during the ID card registration process, I wasn't there. So if I found myself in Ghana, how am I going to vote? So what is the EC? What is it doing in regards to people who we don't have the ID, the Ghana card to vote? Do you think it's something that will work?
Yeah, thank you, Doc Austin. Let me put it on record and strongly that NDC should not, and Ghanaians as well, allow any new reform to take place for us to follow for the next election, 2024 election. And I want to say that the way our NDC officers are handling this reform is something I'm happy about. You see, first of all, about the Ghana card, like you rightly pointed out, the EC, together with the Ghana Identification Authority, have appeared before Parliament to, especially the Identification Authority, Professor, I forgot his name a little bit, with Dr. Srebuo. They've appeared before Parliament and at various fora to give reasons why we should use the Ghana card solely for the next election. It's not going to happen. It doesn't fly, because the fact of the matter is that there are Ghanaians without the ID card. Until everybody, or we are firmly clear, we are clear that everybody has gotten, or majority of Ghanaians have gotten the ID card, we should not write any or promulgate any law, or including our CI for the next election, or the new CI that's going to come up, for this proposal to be accepted. Otherwise, it's going to be a franchise. Many people. If you happen to fall within the category of Ghanaians who are without the ID, and then everybody's not covered on the day of election, which is just around the corner, 10 months away, and you don't have the ID card, what is the option for you as a Ghanaian? You're completely out of it. When, in fact, the Constitution makes it mandatory and legitimate for every Ghanaian to be allowed to vote. You can't take it right from me because you restricted me to what I should present as a Ghanaian and a registered Ghanaian to be able to vote. No, we cannot allow that in Ghana. And you see, politically, this EC that has lost credibility before Ghanaians and NDC and other political parties should not be tolerated to run us for us be following them and then go along with whatever they say. They have filtered the EC with their own people, IT directors and all, recently at their own primaries or parliamentary primaries recently. Look at what happened. An EC official was declared himself, or exposed himself, blew his own cover by indicating to Ghanaians that he's an MPP person. At least be very decent about that. We know everybody votes, but you don't come as a returning officer to show to Ghanaians on mic and on TV and boldly doing all that. Impunity. So we should not allow that to happen. Let us not change anything. Let's live by what we agreed on in the current CI 27. Let's go by it. ID card, let the National Identification Authority finish everything and assure us. In fact, they have not assured any Ghanaian. When they appear for Parliament, they haven't assured us. Let us all be clear that we have very little number in the population without the ID. Then we can allow that. But currently, no. It's a machination. It's a trick to again do the Ghanaians in and do the NDC in, because EC is an extension of the MPP and the presidential candidate. It's an extension. It's an office for Nana Akufo-Addo and his henchmen, Jim Mensah, Srebuo, Bosman, and all of them, including another director they appointed recently. In fact, those who even go to the districts and go supervise elections for NDC and other political parties, most of them, if not all of them, are MPP appendages, and surrogates who are there, connect as if they are independent. They are not independent. So we should be firm. We should resist. No compromises. What we have is enough. Even what we have in law, coming to the indelible link, what we have in law by the CI, they are violating it. We have it, and the lawyer that she is, Jim Mensah, knows very well when she appeared before Parliament to approve and ratify the CI 127. She remembers as a lawyer that.
Run it up for me, sir.
Yes. Yeah. Okay. So the section doesn't allow a change by administrative, just asking that we are not going to use indelible link. No, the CI mandate is them to do that. So we should not give room for those kind of things at all.
All right. Thank you, Mr. Richard, for sharing your opinion in regards to the identification card or Ghana card. If you are watching us, we are discussing the proposal that the EC, the Electoral Commission of Ghana, has come out with in regards to the upcoming general election. If you've got any comment, any question, you leave it on our WhatsApp or Facebook or YouTube page, and we will pass it on to our panelists. You are watching the Direct Talk. It comes your way every Sunday, 7 p.m. UK time, and it's brought to you by Pro Forum UK. Thank you for tuning in. Mr. Richard's point, he made mention of something that I think I will ask Auntie Kate, Mrs. Jones, about it. Do you really think that these, Ghana card and the indelible ink that we are talking about in any way promote the independence and effectiveness of the Electoral Commission in Ghana?
Okay. Good evening, and thank you for that. Good evening to your viewers. To answer your question, Austin, this current EC that we have, Jean Mensa, she wants to discredit the job that her predecessors, Madame Charlotte Osei and Dr. Afari-Gyan, did. They did a very good job by securing and building on the democratic election of Ghana, the Fourth Republic. I quite remember that Afari-Gyan did a lot of things based on consultation. And I'm sure Madame Charlotte Osei also did a lot of those electoral reforms based on consultation and going according to the law. Now, when we come to Madame Jean Mensa, we know, and we've seen it, and we've witnessed it, that Madame Jean Mensa, even though she's a lawyer, ironically, she does not work with the law. We saw her eliminate SAL from the 2020, was it 2020 elections or 2016 election? We saw her last minute. It was illegal. She did that. She got away with it. We saw what happened in Ayawaso West Wagon. She openly sat in front of a committee when lives were crippled, people were shot. And in the history of Ghana's election, such level of violence, even during Rawlings's time, who Rawlings is, God bless his soul, was, associated with the military and all that. We didn't have what happened in Ayawaso West Wagon. She sat there and openly said it was a free and fair election, and she did not see any violence there. What is this telling you? This is an EC who is bent on destroying the democratic build-up that her predecessors have done. A step further to it is what she's doing with this ID cards and the elimination of indelible ink. We all know, if we go back to maybe my grandmother's generation, they still vote. They still vote. And I remember the pride in my grandmother when she first cast her vote. She showed her thumb, and it was the icon of the day, the indelible ink that showed your participation in an election. They felt proud that they have actually cast their vote. And it encouraged people to do that. Why do you want to eliminate a process that has been, even though it has its own flaws, very limited, why do you want to eliminate a process that has been tried and tested and for which the people of Ghana, the majority of our rural folks have accepted and understood as the measure for which they cast their votes? Why do you want to eliminate that? For some people, they associate voting and the pride of voting with that. If you're not going to have it, they don't care. They will not go to the polls. This is one of her Machiavellian tactics of destroying the voting system in Ghana in favor of we know who it is and nobody else than MPP. Ghana cards. Let me come to Ghana cards. Have any of you tried getting Ghana cards in Ghana? It's not an easy process. You have to pay and pay double, even though they are saying it's free. If you want to get a Ghana card, it's not cheap either. It's supposed to be free, but it's not cheap. How is my grandmother and the people in the village of Nkwetia going to be able to afford the Ghana card? People have been waiting for 3 years, 4 years, 5 years for Ghana cards. They still haven't got it. So why do you make Ghana card a sole identification for voting in Ghana, if not for the purposes that you want to manipulate the election? It's gerrymandering. All what she's doing is gerrymandering. And she's doing it to favor a particular political party, which is the MPP. And she should not be made to get away with it. Like Mr. Richard said, Ghanaians should not allow Jim Mensah, and in particular, the NDC and the other parties who want Ghana's democracy to grow, should not allow Jim Mensah to have a way this time, because she's got the law behind her, because she's got a ruling party behind her. And we've seen it on many occasions. An EC who ignores a court order. The court has actually asked her to establish or to create hold elections for SAL. She's still not doing it. Now she's focusing on what? Moving electoral dates. When you know very well that the consensus is not reached on that, you know. So, Madam Jim Mensah,
Auntie Kate, I'll come to that date. I'll come to the changing of days.
Yes, to round that up, Madam Jim Mensah is actually, if we are not careful, will lead us into where Ghanaians don't want to go. We have built on our democracy for the past 40-something years. We want to continue building on it. We shouldn't allow her to destroy that for us. Thank you.
All right. Thank you for sharing your opinion on that. That brings me to my next question. We're talking about the reforms of the EC in regards to the upcoming general election. And we are talking about some of the things that the EC has proposed that is causing some sort of confusion or misunderstanding, or is raising an eyebrow, various places across the country, our motherland, Ghana. And that is what we are discussing. You can be part of the conversation by sending in your comment, your question through our Facebook page or our WhatsApp page. Direct to me on my WhatsApp or on our YouTube. I've got questions on our YouTube and from our YouTube page and our WhatsApp page. I'll be reading them very soon, so keep on bringing in the questions. I will come to the questions. I've seen them, and I'll direct them to our panelists to answer them. Now, in regards to what Auntie Kay said about changing the date. Now, I was reading through the proposal, direct from the EC's website, and I noticed that they are trying to change the election day. Move it a bit forward to November. And I just want to find out from my panelists. Let me come to Mr. Richard. So do you know what is the rationale behind it? Do you have any idea? Or what is the rationale? Let me ask in that way. What is the rationale behind it? What's the reason why the EC wants to change the election day? Move it forward 1 month ahead. Is there any particular reason? Because I couldn't find it on my on their website trying to explain. There wasn't anything there. So I'm asking you if you have anything to say in regards to that.
Yeah, I haven't come across reasons for that. Bringing it up a little bit earlier than the December 7th. I haven't come across their official information on that. Ordinarily, I would think that like the US and also in other jurisdictions, if we can bring our election earlier, like the November that they are proposing, it would help the transition period so that things will not be in a rush before we put the new government in power December, January, I believe January 7th, 1 month away, nearly after the election. Going to give us room, again, in case there's anything happens during the election day, like on the 7th, where there is a runoff or a third runoff, like happened in 2008, we will not be pressed by time. We'll have a lot of room to make sure everything is done, transition. If vehicles are lost, we can, account for everything moving from the outgoing administration to the new administration. So things will go on smoothly if we allow 1 month, one month, to do all this and enough time to do the transition period together as a two government, outgoing government and incoming government. Unfortunately, any steps that these people take, we have to watch it carefully. If you wanted to do this, why sit down about 7 years running without proposing it? And in the last year, which is the election year, then you want to roll this out. So it's suspicious, very, very suspicious. They might have planned something and want to use this as a reason to roll out whatever they have on their sleeves. Like the NEC really, asked, let us refrain from any new major reforms because this is constitutional matter. So let's refrain from any major reform during this election season, and allow it to be considered thoroughly, extensively before 2028 election. But now, no, I wouldn't be part of any proponent towards doing that, even though I believe that it will serve us well as a country. But the people we have in the saddle, so far as our Ghanaian democratic elections are concerned, are not people to be trusted, especially so when they decided to sleep all 6 years to 7 years into the 8th year before bringing it up. Look, the way they are ruling the indelible link, the way they handled the voter registration recently, I believe last year, and the way they conducted the elections for the local assemblies using indelible link, without the indelible ink, and all of a sudden when they went into the NPP, we would have expected that it would have, be consistent with what they rolled out, so that we see how it turns out. But they excluded the NPP parliamentary elections from that. Why? Have they given any reason? No reasons. So these people are not going to be trusted. Let's hold on.
So, Mr. Richard, let me point out, you made mention of, moving the date forward could have been okay.
Yeah, for me, it's okay. For me, it's good.
Exactly, but the time of implementing, it's not right. Why do you say that?
The question is, you see, when the EC makes a step, the history shows that they have something hidden up their sleeves. Even those that are written in law, they violate them. So my question is this: why would you not even think of this major change after the 2020 election? Because after every election through our history, the IPAC sits down for the political parties and the EC to review whatever occurred in the last election, the challenges and then the failures or the strong points and the weak points, and then put in reforms long before election year. The last time around, after 2020, you didn't have NDC at IPAC. The IPAC has become a dictatorship place for EC to come and step down on the political parties that are there as to what they want to do. So why didn't you say that even when NDC was in there? Now all of a sudden, where did you find this new thing? Where did you find it? For you to roll up? And in fact, you see, the way the CI passes in Parliament too, it's not discussed though. You either say return it in the Parliament, or it stays there for 21 days and it's passed. So let's allow time. I would say I will not. I'm speaking for myself, but I believe Ghanaians will not, because looking at how these things are done in other jurisdictions, like where I live here in the US, I will not stand against it ordinarily, but this EC cannot be trusted, and the major reforms cannot be allowed to be done in the last year. It creates confusion, it creates chaos, it creates brutalities, and they take advantage of it for one party or the other. And we should not sleep for them to rule this on us.
Okay, thank you, Mr. Richard. Thank you for your point, Mr. Tevine. So I want to ask you: do you think that these reforms aims to address many of the shortcomings or challenges identified in the previous electoral process? Because in the previous election, we know that there was a lot of back and forth, High Court. You all know that. I don't want to go into details. And I want to find out from you if these proposals, these new reforms, kind of address the shortcomings or the challenges identified in the previous electoral processes.
Thank you. I do not necessarily think that the reforms actually address those challenges at all. They don't. What I am seeing, and I believe most Ghanaians are also seeing, is that the EC is gradually making these sudden reforms to favor the ruling party. This is my view.
Why do you say that? Explain.
Thank you very much. Like we saw earlier, and I said earlier, and my brother Richard also re-emphasized on that. The EC, for example, is proposing a reform that there will not be the necessity to use the indelible ink in our elections. So the EC went ahead and ran a local government election where the indelible ink was not used. Then, during the NPP parliamentary primaries this January, all of a sudden, the EC used the indelible ink. So then the question is, why proposing a reform and try to implement that reform, starting with the local government election, and then all of a sudden you have changed, or you decided to use the indelible ink for the NPP, which is the ruling party's parliamentary primaries? What was the need for that? And I'm sure a lot of Ghanaians are also asking this question. So I believe the EC knows that there could be multiple voting in that system. But then the EC is telling us Ghanaians that the NPP party's election is more important than our entire general election. So the NPP parliamentary primaries can have the indelible ink to avoid electoral fraud or multiple voting, but does not think that it is necessary to use it during the general election. The next thing about the date, I am sure the EC is proposing a date to allow ample time so that maybe should there be a by-election, maybe that could be addressed before the 7th of January as proposed, to actually swear in a new president. But then when we look at the timing, why must there be such critical change or reform in an election year? Like my brother Richard said earlier, this could have been done maybe 2 years ago, 3 years ago, even 5 years ago. Why?
Maybe they now realize that it's important.
No, so so the EC is trying to cause confusion, because you are proposing this And I am believing that the EC is proposing this because the EC itself is being directed maybe by the ruling party to make such decisions. I don't think it is an independent decision of the EC. Why am I saying so? Because everything this EC does, the EC does it to favor this NPP government. We were all here when the EC had to announce an election result 3 times in 2020. And all just because the first one, calculations were done again, and the EC had to come back to say, oh, there was an error. So all those changes were done just to favor and to announce this party as the winning party in 2020. And then we have seen this reform coming in. And when we should even go back to the Ghana card, they have systematically denied the NDC strongholds this Ghana card. Come to Volta region, a lot of people don't have the Ghana card. And most of them went to register for the card, but till today, they have not received it. You would go there, they tell you, maybe yours hasn't come yet. And for over 3 years, 4 years, a lot of Ghanaians don't have their Ghana card in the Volta region, for example. And I am sure if we go to other regions where we have the NDC as a stronghold there, I'm sure they've all been denied the opportunity to have their Ghana cards just because the EC wants to systematically use this to disenfranchise a lot of Ghanaians so that when the NPP majority regions, because a lot of people went to Ashanti region to get the Ghana card, and it was easy like that. A lot of people went to Eastern region to do it. It was easy like that. So why should it be difficult in the NDC strongholds? So you can see, you can tell clearly. So this is a systematic machination to disenfranchise Ghanaians who are going to vote, but then they are perceived as NDC sympathizers. So in my view, I don't think these reforms are meant to address the challenges, but rather they are meant to cause chaos in the upcoming election. And that is exactly what we are seeing. And seeing an EC official declaring himself as an NPP person publicly during an election. So yes. So simply, they are not addressing any previous challenges, but then they are about to cause chaos in the upcoming election. They're about to cause confusion, as my brother said, and every political party, especially the NDC, must be vigilant and not accept this.
Thank you, Mr. Tipan.
Thank you.
You are listening to the Direct Talk right from the United Kingdom, UK. Every Sunday it comes your way live on Facebook and YouTube. Share the link, invite a friend in your family to join. Bring in your questions, your comment, and we'll read them out to pass it on to our panelists for them to answer. I've seen a couple of questions coming through. I will pass it on to our panelists as we proceed. So give me time. I have seen them. A couple of WhatsApp messages have come through as well. Thank you for sending in your questions. I will direct them very soon to our panelists. But before I do that, and we go for a commercial break, before we go, Mrs. Kate, Auntie Kate, so Mr. Divine mentioned something about challenges not being addressed. So I want to ask you, do you think that these proposed reforms address the concerns related to electoral fraud and manipulation?
Yeah, the answer to that is no. In fact, they actually increases the electoral fraud and machinations. When EC started, I mean, one of the recommendations that the European, from the last observations or the last election was that the EC should be transparent. Simple, transparent. What do they mean by that? Engage, yeah? Open the electoral process way ahead of time. Open the voting register way ahead of time. Give people the opportunity to actually cross-check and work with what you have, what you want, and how you want it to be. The EC hasn't done that. Up to now, EC has not issued their timetable for this year's election. They haven't. What does that tell us? When EC is not focusing on the things that they have to do in order to ensure transparency in our election, in order to ensure that they don't disenfranchise eligible voters in our elections, they are busy with these reforms that will limit participation in our general election. Look at what she did. I'm going for her. I'm not saying, look at what she got. She's the head. Look at what she did with the limited registration exercise. Instead of expanding the centers, she closed it. Look at what happened. When she did a last-minute cancellation of the elections in the Hawaii area, what happened? She left the whole constituency out without a representation. So in my view, what she's doing is not broadening the participation for every eligible voter to exercise their fundamental human right, but she's actually closing it. And in so doing, she's causing chaos and creating confusion. And I said in my earlier submission, this EC is not the EC of our, the old EC. She's not for the democratic dispensation of Ghanaians, but she is in a form an authoritarian. And everything she has done so far is to drive Ghana into a chaotic situation. So her reforms would only suit one political party, and we know it is NPP, because she's doing the bidding of her masters. And my predecessor, my fellow panelists have said, the EC, if you go to the EC office right now, Dr. Bosman, we know, is an NPP activist. No two ways about that. Not long ago, they appointed 2 MPP card-bearing members to be on the electoral board. So what's that telling you? Everything they are doing is to favor MPP. So these reforms that she's bringing up are
But okay, don't you think that, based on what you said in regards to Bosman, every, citizen of the country, one way or the other, has a political party.
I agree.
But exactly. And so,
I agree.
Yeah, so appointing an MPP or an NDC shouldn't be a problem, but I believe that the rule of law and the role that the EC has to play has to be independent.
And that is where we are not seeing.
Okay.
Yeah. Well, every one of us here has a political affiliation. Yeah. But when you are appointed to a particular position, that political hat comes off. You take on the act of neutrality. You serve the Ghanaian people. You don't serve NPP whilst you are appointed. But what do we see from this cohort of electoral commissioners? All that we are seeing is everything that the MPP want is what they are implementing. It means they have not taken off their political hats. They are still in that political mood. And it doesn't really help to have affiliations. This is what some of the things about nepotism. Affiliations to the president, working or being in charge of the whole electoral commission of the country. So what she's doing is not helping Ghanaians. And if we are not careful, Jean Mensa will be the catalyst that will destroy the foundation and the democracy that our forefathers have built for us. And with the freedom we're enjoying today as an up-and-coming democratic nation, Jean Mensa will be the catalyst that will destroy that for us.
Thank you, Auntie Kate, for sharing your opinion. You are watching the Direct Talk. It comes your way every Sunday, 7 p.m. UK time. As I always say, if you're watching us live from the US or wherever you may find yourself, Google and see the time within your local country. This program is brought to you by ProForum UK. Today we are discussing some of the proposals that the EC, Electoral Commission of Ghana has come out with, in regards to the upcoming general election. You can bring in your comments and your questions on Facebook. We are on Have Your Take Media. Share to Have Your Take Media, and on YouTube is YT African TV. Bring in your comments, bring in your questions. I've seen some of the questions on our platform. I'll be reading them when we come back from commercial break. So stay tuned as we go for a short commercial break. Thank you for listening.
Sedan necessary Ghana for United Monyankopon. Se wama Hanat rapid response for every UK. Abe BBA our Ghana. Se do Leicester UK. Now so pe dwumafua oye cleaner. Obia beka Hanat rapid response. HRR. Enti se ye ofie ana wo demo. Wo betu ombu ase ayiyi ho, clean ho kama. Ase ya hyehyɛ wo bibia ma. Na se ye office nso a wo be horo ho, apepa ho, aye ho neat. Na se wo carpet nso a aye fia. Fakoma Hanat rapid for na on cleaning and sun dry and famau. Safe ni wasi ufia wie and a utu akomu. Anase office nso a fre womo no ndi kan ego clean fie ho ani adani nyina mu. Ansakura na otu ako. Wa horo ka bia. Eye mu fi nyina fi ho no. Obetima ba ofie abaya ma wo. Anase obetima so di akomo ho. Na omo laundry ni die eye adutwam. Womo abetima ba ofie abaje oniama no akosi ato abobo so kama. Hanat rapid response. Abama Bia in the hospitals, schools, hostels, companies, hotels. Any bia if you will bia unya clean dear. Woman ye cleaning masters. Fisho much across the CA. Ewa hojo. Would you any extra tinga Johnson? Dana Adom Joy Restaurant Ewumuno. M1 or Fred 0202 608938 and a 0546 257 435. See a cano hanat dia a professionalism, any customer satisfaction and a priority.
Welcome back from our short commercial break. If you've got any advert that you want us to promote on our channel, please send it to us and we will do our best to promote your business for you. You can get in touch with us via our Facebook page or on our YouTube page or on our WhatsApp number. So if you've got anything that you want us to promote on our channel, please feel free to contact us. You are watching the Direct Talk right at the comfort of your home. It's brought to you by Pro Forum UK. If you want to be part of Pro Forum UK, please contact me and we will arrange for you to speak to the executives and you can be a member of the Pro Forum team. Thank you for tuning in. We are discussing the electoral proposal that the EC of Ghana has, brought to us in regards to suggested or point. They have brought to the country at the moment. I mean, if you go to their website, it's there. So it's something that is pending, and we are discussing the proposal or the reforms that the EC has brought. I mean, in regards to the upcoming election. If you've got any question, you can actually leave a comment on our Facebook or WhatsApp, and then we will pass it on. Actually, I've got a question for Auntie Kate. I think one of our viewers said that I received a text message from one of our viewers talking about, I think you made mention of being independent and taking up your cup. And the person is asking, when NDC was in power, NPP was criticizing the government, and now NDC is in opposition and you are doing exactly the same thing. So what will change under the NDC?
Is that my question?
Yeah, that's what the person
great.
is asking you, your question. Sorry.
Yes. So yes, we are in opposition, and every opposition, the clue is in the name. We oppose, but we oppose constructively. Okay. As I said, when NDC was in power, Dr. Afari-Gyan did consultation on many, many levels. In fact, Charlotte Osei also did consultation on many, many levels, on which even one of those consultations, when Jim Mensah was the chairperson for one of these organizations, actually made recommendations to her. And they deliberated on those recommendations. And Charlotte said, listen, Afari-Gyan, listen. Jean Mensa is not listening to anybody. She's a law unto herself, and she does what pleases her. Now, you have seen the Electoral Commission under NDC rule, and you are seeing Electoral Commission under the MPP rule. I did make mention of Ayawaso West Wagon. Jean Mensa went and said it was free. This past election, we had 8 people killed. 8 people killed. Techiman South, what happened? Has never happened in the history of Ghana's elections on an election day. Jean Mensa said it was free and most successful. Charlotte Osei never had any of these. Well, she did have those issues, but she worked in consultation with stakeholders on that. Charlotte Osei didn't have what we had in Ayawaso West Wagon, nor did she have what we had in Techiman South. The same thing. Afro-Agyan may have had some, but not on the same scale, because Afro-Agyan's time, it was, a very young democracy, and the voting pattern, we have now grown to understand what democracy is, or are understanding what democracy is. So some of these practices are dying now. But what do we see under Jean Mensa? She's bringing them all back. Jean Mensa is stoking and stirring instead of building on what has already been done. So that is the difference. NDC, we engage, we consult. We work with the law. Under MPP, this is what we see. MPP agrees with everything, including the elimination of SAL from the last election. They agreed to it. They were happy it did happen. And who did it favor? When that happened, who did it favor in the Volta region? Okay, so whoever is benefiting from fraud does not really see that that entity as fraudulent. If you are on the other side of it, you feel the pain.
Your point for me, sir. Sorry, madam.
If you are at a receiving end, you don't see anything wrong. And this is what Jimmy. So the difference is NDC, we consult, we build, and we move the country forward. Under MPP, we retrogress. And like we are seeing now in our economy and in our elections. Thank you.
All right, thank you. Let me read some comments and some questions, and then we can proceed. One of our viewers said, this is a question. Before I read the comment, let me pass the question forward to our panelists first before I read the comment. This one is from Keys Bless. He says, is it the cost of the indelible ink? That is what the EC is avoiding, or what is the motive? Mr. Richard, can you help us answer that question?
Thank you very much. That question is neither here nor there. Even the bigger things that she requested for were all paid for, not ink. Ink that when we were children or were younger guys in primary school used to use ink, in the Indian ink and all that. That is what we know. They are very indelible, and we used to buy them. I believe a number of people, even NDC, can offer to sponsor the ink for them if they are so pressed. The country is so broke that they can buy ink for the EC. We are available to fund that. In fact, the Pro Forum of UK and US together will be able to fund that if they really need it and they don't have money. We can do that. It's mischievous. They have something up their sleeves. So I will not belabor that point. But the question again is this. We have a number of issues that are sitting on the shelf. Council security during elections. The security is deployed under the supervision of the EC during elections. Even though we have commanders of those security detail, they come directly under the EC and EC commissioner. So if anything goes wrong, the EC has a responsibility to ensure that things are corrected. She has a responsibility to follow up to find out exactly what happened to those who were killed. Who are those who killed others? These are things that we need to review. These are things. You don't just die under your supervision and then you walk away and come and think about something else. No. You need to make sure that the Ayawaso that you supervised and went to a Mission Commission and said nothing happened. It cannot be fine with us. It cannot be fine with Ghanaians. We cannot move on. When people have been killed, and even if the country, MPP is not concerned, the NARO is not concerned, you as an independent institution under the Constitution. You need to be concerned because it is under your operation that those things occur. So you don't come into something else and leave the most important ones for us to behind the scene. No, we can't move on. We can't move on. If there is anything important, the EC must think about this. Like you mentioned, Saul, 7 years running, EC should be concerned. 7 years. We don't know how we are going with Saul in December 2024. These are sad. And you call yourself EC? Look, shall I say, when Bawumia, mentioned about foreigners of Togolese on our electoral register, what did Shalose do? Shalose formed a committee of eminent people headed by Justice VCRAC Crab, and openly on live streaming conducted investigations into that. Political parties were then, including NPP, to come and define exactly what they said. At the end of the day, we concluded and nothing, their suspicion didn't stand. When it comes to things like that, the EC, and that's what I say, and also Afarigan, they were very transparent. When it comes to election results at a strong room at the end of the day, where the EC is supposed to, call the elections, you don't do it on your own. You don't, in fact, you don't, even as SRC elections, you cannot call results today and tomorrow you come and change it on your own as electoral commissioner at the school. You can't do that. If there's a need for you to change the result, then you need to call all the contesting candidates or their agents and explain to them exactly how the mistake occurred, so that they will agree with you in a certain conference room for you to proceed. Then you take it upon yourself that, okay, you want to just call any result at all, whether you like it or not. No. And then we have compromising Supreme Court judges, compromising, condoning this behavior.
Can you run it up for me, sir?
Look, there is.
Run it up for me.
Give me 1 minute, just a second, 10 seconds. You see, look at Director, the MPP, Berbimba Apiahine, is it Dr. Apiahine, who was appointed. NDC cried about it. Council of State, they did nothing about it when we complained or we petitioned them, nothing about it. The EC yourself, and you know very well, this person is clearly a communication officer for you, and they are putting that person into your institution. If you believe that institution remain credible and independent in the eyes of the public, you would.
Thank you, sir. Thank you. You've made your point. I've got another question from Na Royals. He's saying, what are the leaders? I don't know the leaders. I think he's referring to the leaders of the country. I said, what are the leaders doing concerning the exemption of the indelible ink from our elections? Mr. Divine, can you help answer that question for our audience?
Thank you. Thank you very much. To answer this question, I believe that every stakeholder is against this decision. When I say stakeholder, I mean the NDC as a political party will not, I know my party very well will not agree to this, because we are a democratic party and we believe in the people. And we know that the people will not agree to this, and they are not agreeing to it. So the interest of the people actually matters to the NDC. Therefore, my party, the NDC, definitely will not go with this reform. I also believe that the chiefs of this country are very wise enough to say no to the EC's reform on the issue of the indelible ink. And you see, to make matters worse, when they didn't use it for the assembly election, but then they went ahead to use it for the NPP parliamentary primaries, the EC was actually demonstrating its position, that they are just there to work for the NPP, not for the people of Ghana. And therefore, they have sold themselves out to the leaders of this country, i.e., all political parties, and also the chiefs of the country, and everyone else that is interested, including us, the citizenry. So my take is that everyone in the country, apart from maybe Jean Mensa and her dreaming team, are believing that they are not going to use it, but I don't think that will be the case. I'm sure Ghanaians and every other stakeholder, including all the leaders you are asking about, will oppose this strongly. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. Let me take 1 minute to read few comments. I can't read all the comments, a lot of comments. So if I don't read your comment, it's not biased. I'm not against you or whatsoever, but we are at the time, time constraints. So, but I just want to read a few. So if I don't read yours, please, maybe next time. And then I'll go back to the questions. One of our viewers says that well said, is so brilliant, honorable divine. And then there is another one that says that I think we've answered that question about whether it's the cost. So it's not even a question. It's not a comment, it's a question. This one is from Ajebiku. I don't think anyone will accept such a major changes to our electoral process in an election year. That is also from Ajeku. Another one saw from Junior Key Graham. Ghanaian must not keep quiet. Ghanaian must not keep quiet on this decision. This won't serve any purpose. Machines can fail us on the day of election. Let's keep our old tradition. There is no need to fix it when it's not cracked. That is from Junior King Graham. And then there is another one who says, great program, good work. And Kobla Ali also said, against the change of date. The appointees have enough time to write their handover. We can equally carry out a runoff within the stipulated time. We can afford time for people to see. We cannot afford time for people to see. Sorry, some of the handwritings are too small on my screen. I need to come a little bit forward. Thank you for your comment. As I said, if I don't read your comment, it's not something that I don't know any of you, but I'm trying to go with time. So we'll take time to read some of the comments as we proceed. Now we're going to the second segment of our program, our discussion, and that is a visit of President Mahama in Kumasi. Anything about Kumasi is very important to me because I'm original. Anticate knows that I'm original and official Kumerican. And recently, His Excellency John Mahama visited a 24-hour walk in Kumasi and had a conversation with my people in Kumasi, particularly in Kejetia, where I grew up. And he made mention about certain lack of infrastructure developments. And I want us to look, into that. And I think he was telling the traders that under the NDC commenced the project, the Kejetia project. But under this government, nothing has been done to oversee the completion of the project. Now, Auntie Kate, I've seen you nodding up your head. I think you are very interested. So let me come to you. What do you want to say in regards to what His Excellency John Mahama said in his visit to Kumasi in regards to infrastructure projects in Kumasi? What do you think, comparing his term previous term to today, including KJT and other infrastructure projects in Kumasi. Do you think the NDC, the MPP is doing more or has not done anything, as His Excellency said?
His Excellency is 100% right. According to the MPP-owned communicators on the Kumasi radio stations, they argue vehemently over what the NDC did for them, the road networks that were started, the schools that were started, the health facilities that were started, and not to mention the KJTIA market that was started. All of it started under NDC. Ask MPP what they have been able to do or add on or even completed from what the NDC started for Kumasi. And you will find the answer is no. This is not, if you listen to their radio stations, their own communicators are actually testifying to this. So President Mahama is 110% right when he says that. Now, I just have to come to one thing. President Mahama loves the people of Kumasi. He loves the people of Kumasi. He visits Kumasi most of the time. And if you have observed, on most of his tours, he is in Kumasi most of the time. And whatever he goes and promises the people of Kumasi, he delivers. He went, we looked at, I think the Kumasi airport expansion was also in the pipeline when we left office. The road network, I went to university in Kumasi Tech. This was 98. When I went, 98 was under NDC. The infrastructure, the development of the area was different. I went just last year, August, and I saw my beloved Garden City. And I was asking myself, is this the Kumasi I know? Is this the Kumasi which is supposed to be the stronghold of the MPP, where MPP's World Bank is? You go to KJTIA, you go to Ejisu, you go to Manshia, you go to all the prominent places. The roads are bad. Infrastructure is crumbling. Projects that were started under NDC and under John Mahama have been abandoned. So when President Mahama says that they did well under NDC, he's 110% right. Kumasi always does well because we want to make sure that development reaches everyone. Development reaches everyone. That is the social democrats we are. And we believe in development for everyone and not just for the few. So yes, the projects and also the initiations and also the program that John Mahama and the NDC has for Kumasi has always been far better. Don't forget that our first lady comes from Kumasi. Nana Jimai Kunedu comes from Kumasi. So we will always look after our in-laws.
It's very important. Thank you, Auntie Kate, for sharing. Yes, I want to come to Mr. Richard. We are talking about a 24-hour walk in Kumasi. Organized, led by His Excellency John Mahama, and he was talking about KJTIA running 24 hours. So, how do you think Kumasi, can benefit from the 24-hour, particularly Kumasi and Adum being the commercial hub of Kumasi? How do you think these areas will benefit? Are they going to benefit from the 24-hour economy?
Yeah, so when it comes to the 24-hour economy in terms of supporting businesses to focus on employment of to help resolve or reduce the unemployment issue in Ghana, and I believe Kumasi is one of the cities that will be considered, besides the smaller ones. Tema, Accra, Kumasi, Takoradi, Sekondi, Takoradi, and all over the place, Tamale. These are the cities that we have, maybe thriving companies who need support to be able to employ the unemployment, help resolve the unemployment, help the youth get jobs. And Kumasi and Ashanti region cannot be left out. So when it comes to that, I don't know Kumasi very well. I just passed through. The last time we went was Ken were there. I just had the fufu, enjoyed the fufu, and then passed through. So it's about jobs. This is not about night market for Kelewele and all that. It's about employment. That is the focus of the 24-hour economy. Kumasi with its artisans and the unemployed people over there, if we're able to maybe support, I know we have, I don't know whether Kumasi Bureau is still operating. It's been a long time. I know there is a leather company. Those companies that were there before, they have now reduced their capacity, reducing capacity in their production. We need to help them, support them, give them some funding, support them with tax waivers, help them with security, provide the needed things, and other incentives to enable them employ the unemployed. That's all that we are looking for, and therefore the 24-hour, so there can be shifts. We don't want three shift systems where all we see is people roaming across the city aimlessly, attending dance halls and the drama, and perhaps before due respect in the cities where the women who are unemployed, men are taking advantage of them. So when you see them in the night, it's either they are from one joint or the other for certain immoral activities and get some money out of it. That is not what we want. We want proper jobs. And therefore the focus will be on these cities. Tema, where I live, where I come from, used to be, top of the 24-hour economy, where we had a GTMC, the GDP, the TTL, the Akosombo, Vaco, and all of them, Temafu Complex, all of them were running shifts. And the companies were making money of that, and everybody got employed. Same as Accra. So Kumasi as well, it used to be the case when we had a KBL and all, the leather companies and all that. So it's something to reintroduce, but you cannot ask the companies to operate when you don't support them because they don't have the money. So give them some small incentives. If it's about electricity, yes, get a waiver, and then I can switch on my machines 24 hours because that's going to cost. But if government can come and support us, and Kumasi will be helped. In fact, like Sister Kate is saying, they know Kumasi themselves, the Ashantis themselves, they know what Mahama did for them. I remember one of the Ashanti chiefs, I believe Gosso, was crying, lamenting, and in fact, emotionally, was almost at the weeping end for MPP denying his traditional area of infrastructure or amenities. You see, we did it before. We supplied water, Mampo, Ashanti Mampo, and all those places. So if we as NDC and the flag bearer goes there, the former president, Excellency, goes there, people already know him. Nipa unimuno dadano anajuyan sokanya shweneni. So the saying goes in Tree. John Mahama is very well known in Ashanti region and Kumasi. He left marks, like we all know. And then they have a way of comparing what he left for within the 4 years that he came to rule, as against the 8 years that their MPP came into power. What have they shown? Nothing. Kumasi Ashanti region, we were able to make it the Kumasi airport. Remember, it was during Mahama's time that we were able to make it have the necessary facilities to have flights landing in the evenings and at the night. Phase 1 was done, and then MPP continued phase 2. And sometimes they think that is about Umia, who actually brought that development or additional enhancement to the airport. No, these are all lies, and they have been lying every day. And we are not giving to lies. Nobody can catch us on any lie. So I don't think it to be fair for Ashanti region to deny NDC that credit and respect and be fair to them when it comes to we asking that we are going to continue developing. They will not doubt us, and they will really embrace us when it comes to the elections. Especially when even among themselves, the MPs and the
run it up for me, please.
They are divided in Ashanti region. Otherwise, the elephant would have given birth to a butterfly, which is a controversy right now. Otherwise, people who stood against, MPs who stood against Akufo-Addo and Bawumia, knocked down against to lose their primaries. So they are divided as to exactly what they want in the Ashanti region. Meanwhile, when it comes to appointments, the Ashanti region has a whole lot. Deputies and ministers and chief executives, they have a whole lot. They haven't shown any respect to their stronghold. And for that matter, we are asking for the mandate. We have done it before, and we'll continue to, have in them and then, deliver on our mandate if they allow us to.
All right. Thank you so much, Mr. Richard, for sharing your opinion. You are watching Direct Talk from the UK. It comes your way every Sunday, 7 p.m. UK time. Today we are discussing two important topics. First of all, we've already finished the first topic, talking about the Electoral Commission of Ghana, their proposal in regards to the upcoming general election. And now we are talking about His Excellency John Mahama's visit to Kumasi, the Garden City. The Garden City. The Garden City. And he met with, traders, a lot of people, and he was talking about infrastructure and other things. And that is what we are discussing. Now, we all know that Ashanti region is rainforest, farmers producing cocoa, and a lot of minerals come from Ashanti region. And it's a farming base, because from my hometown where I'm coming from, everybody is a farmer. We all go to farm. I used to go to farm. Now, I want to know from Mr. Divine, within the 24-hour economy, how would the 24 economy help, the agricultural industry and the manufacturing industry in Kumasi in regards to what His Excellency said about infrastructure? So
Thank you. Before I go on to that, I just want to really let my friends in Ashanti region know that this is a golden opportunity for Ashanti to be great again, because we have seen in the last 7 years that it is make Achim great again. That happened. So the concept of the kingdom, the only lasting kingdom probably we have in West Africa, is going down a bit, and we need to look at that and see from that angle and see what John Mahama is trying to do for the kingdom to make the kingdom great again. Now, let's go first into the industrial. So John Mahama actually promised to build an industrial estate in Swame. And this is where several companies will be established when the NDC comes to power. So this will be of great benefit to the people of Ashanti region. Why am I saying so? In fact, since I was a child, I used to think that most of the things that came from China came from Kumasi. Why? Because the people in Kumasi, they could actually produce chalewati, and it will look exactly like the ones imported. So I didn't have money to buy those expensive sneakers back in the days. So the Kumasi made ones. They look exactly that. So if you're not a pro in identifying which is which, you wouldn't know, And to me, Kumasi is supposed to be the China of Africa, because they produce everything with their hands. They are great at it. They are super at what they do. And I believe John Mahama knows this. The NDC as a party, we know this. That is why we are taking the industries to them when we come to power. And apart from Greater Accra region, Kumasi is the next largest city we have, where I believe if we should have industrial hub like this, that will work 24 hours. We'll have a lot of mass migration into Kumasi. People will come from all parts of Africa to work in Kumasi. It will boom the economy, not only for the country, but also for the region. And with these industries going there, it means that the road networks will be improved. A lot will improve in there, and there'll be jobs for everybody to do day and night. So I believe that would work. And then, to talk about the agriculture sector, our cocoa timber. I mean, Ashanti region has the largest concession for timber, and we can continue to boost that. And also in terms of our cocoa produce, and also our everyday kind of consumables. So I believe that the people of Ashanti region should take advantage of this and work to make Ashanti great again. Because if that city in Kumasi is going to be industrialized, I believe that it will see the influx of people in there, and it won't be just building a kingdom within a kingdom as some people are doing, because they believe that there's Jehovah's Witness kingdoms everywhere. So my people in Ashanti region, this is a golden opportunity, and I think you should embrace it. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Divine, for sharing your opinion. My last question, I will go to Auntie Kate. So, what role would the local government play in achieving this economic growth that we are talking about? Because we're talking about 24-hour, and I think Mr. Divine mentioned about the timbers and agriculture and Kumasi being the China, the China of Ghana, in quotes. And so, what role would the local government play in achieving this economic growth in Kumasi?
Great. We have a concept in Ghana, even though it's not been implemented properly, but NDC will change everything. It's called decentralization. If we are to give the local assemblies and the local authorities the power they need, the financial backing they need, the support of policies they need, I think Ashanti region can be the commercial hub and also the industrial hub of our 24-hour economy. Even without it, most people migrate to Ashanti. Most people go to Ashanti for trade. I mean, I remember when I was schooling in Ashanti, the things that we were able to get from KJTIA for cheap, we couldn't get the same in Accra. So we will come from Accra and then come and do our shopping in KJTIA and in Kumasi. The night market was great, So what they have to do, the local authorities have to be empowered. They have to be supported. They have to be given the autonomy in order to run, and with supervision and with some measures, run their assemblies and their constituencies properly. Now, that will come from the vision of that 24-hour economy. If John Mohammed's 24-hour economy and making Ashanti the hub of the industrial, an industrial hub, we would have to put those support plans in place and also bring up the youth. Kumasi has a teeming youthful population, and it has been for a very long time. My father runs Kumasi Wood Clusters. It's a timber area. It's not just that. Food in Kumasi is on relatively cheaper than in Accra. The weather, I would say, is even better than in Accra. I lived there for 4 years, so I know what I'm talking about. So if we put and Kumasi or Ashanti region is known worldwide. You just mentioned Kumamerica. Where else in Ghana do we have Kumamerica? Only in Ashanti region. They travel as well, so they have people in the diaspora, more than, I would say, most tribes in Ghana. I was in Jamaica last year. Everybody was asking me whether I was coming from Kumasi, the kingdom. Kumasi, the kingdom. This is how popular the place is. So with the right policies in place, the right support for the local government, the vision of John Mahama with its 24-hour economy, Kumasi can actually be, or take back, as Divine said, make Kumasi great again. Because Kumasi was once great. But under MPP, it is collapsing. And they know that. They know that. That is why their own communicators are on radio shouting on the rooftops. And that is why Afafranto has actually emerged from Kumasi. So we are asking the people of Kumasi to give us the mandate. They know what we can do. We did it for them in schools. We did it for them in their health facilities. We did it for them in their most valuable treasured asset, KJTIA. We've done it. We gave them the mall of the whole country, the mother of all markets in the country. So we are pleading with them. In fact, this year I'm coming down to Kumasi. I'm going to campaign there myself. We want Kumasi people to give us a chance and vote for John Mahama and his 24-hour economy. And we will make Kumasi great again. Not in the words of Donald Trump, but in the words of John Mahama.
Thank you, Antigua, for sharing. You are watching Direct Talk. I'll, coming your way every Sunday, 7 p.m. UK time. We are running out of time. I've got one question that I want to pass it on to Mr. Divine. I think it's from on WhatsApp in regards to the manufacturing that you mentioned. The question is saying that what would the NDC do specifically for the young people on the street, selling on the street? So what would the NDC government do for people selling on the street? So it's from one of the, so it's gonna be the last question anyway. I've got so many questions, but unfortunately I gotta pass every question. So Mr. Divine, if you can just simply put it, answer that question quickly, and then we'll be out of the platform. Thank you.
Thank you. So with this industrial hubs coming to Ashanti region, especially in Kumasi, we have a lot of jobs from factories. So we have a lot of factories working 24/7. And we also have the agricultural sector also booming. So those selling on the streets can actually go and work within the shift system in these factories, because you don't need a university degree to work in a factory. You probably don't even need much to work in a factory, because there are various roles within a factory. So these industries, these hubs, and I believe the NDC is also preparing to train the youth in technology. And John Mahama will do all this, will bring all these people off the street, train them, those who want to be trained and those who just want to go into work. There's a program for all of them. And this is why we want to build this industrial hub within Ashanti region, especially in Kumasi, so that we can take you off the streets and we can ensure that you also contribute your quota to the Ghana economy as you also grow. And there is a mutual benefit for country and the individual. Thank you.
All right. Thank you. So your final thoughts, Mr. Richard, in 30 seconds, just run up everything that you want your audience to hear. I mean, your final thoughts in 30 seconds, please.
Yeah. Thankfully, we have come to a point in our political life and the future of Ghana. Ghana has been, raped, captured, and made dysfunctional. We don't know where to turn, but people have made money off it. A certain man, Jack Toronto, and his cousins and brothers, some of them are talking about they have quit politics officially, and they are returning to wherever they were to go and live on their booties. That is unfortunate when Ghana has been left in this state. I believe the right pair of hands are coming back. We should believe in them. We should have faith in them. Look at their trajectory in terms of national development. We are for the whole country. NDC is for a national reconstruction. It is not about Achim. It is not about Volta region. It is not about Accra. It is not about Ashanti. It's about national reconstruction. Our history speaks for itself. JJ did it. Atamas came no discrimination. John Mahama came no discrimination. It's about total development of Ghana. Wherever the need is, that is where we go to. So we are reaching out to Ghanaians, listen to us, and give us the mandate. I will not disappoint, just as we have never disappointed you. Thank you.
Thank you. Anchike, your final thoughts about everything, sum everything up in 30 seconds, please.
Great. My summary will be, I'm urging all stakeholders, including all NGOs, to stop Madame Jean Mensa from destroying our democracy. The indelible ink has to be a feature in 2024 elections. No negotiations, no discussions, no compromise on that. And especially we, the NDC, should insist on that. Because if they manage to eliminate indelible ink, it has strongholds that is going to impact on, and it will affect us more than it would affect them. That is why they want to hit there, because they know that our people will not show up, our people will be put off. They will have their people in place to do multiple voting and nothing to show for it. Their systems can fail, and they will still carry on and put out smiling faces as if nothing has happened. So the indelible ink is a non-negotiable thing. And moving the elections this year from December to November, it's not a great idea currently. I am in support of it, but currently in this election year, they shouldn't. They have next 4 years to implement that. I will support that full-heartedly. And lastly, the 24-hour economy, John Mahama's vision for the country, is a plausible idea, a very fruitful and a developmental idea, which if we all grab and sell, we will make Ghana the Black Star of Africa that Nkrumah envisaged us to be. Vote for us. NDC, you've seen the difference. You've seen MPP and you've seen NDC. Vote for NDC come 2024 December. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Divine. Your final words in 30 seconds.
Thank you. I would also want to urge every stakeholder, particularly the NDC, that we should not allow any of these reforms to take place this year, because it's an election year. And let us fix our eyes on the Electoral Commission and every staff of the EC. And let's do intelligence on our own. Let's, as a citizen, or let's be on the watch, so that whatever we see that is going to be a threat to our national security, or is going to be a threat to these elections, let us report it, not to the police necessarily, but to any other stakeholder like the NDC party, and then we can take them up and we work with the various stakeholders to ensure that nobody steals your choice this time. The next thing I'm going to talk about is I want to assure everyone watching that the NDC is not going to sit back and fold hands. We are going to fight and make sure that the EC does the right thing, and even the ruling party do not have their way. We will make sure there is a free and fair election, and because we know that you as a citizen, you are all tired of the current situations in the country, you are tired of the economy, and you just want change, and we will bring you that change come December 7th. And I want you also to vote for NDC, and let's build Ghana together within a 24-hour economy. And I'm sure this will bring a lot of people to jobs, and it will boom the country economically. Thank you.
Oh, thank you. Oh, thank you, Kate. Thank you, Mr. Richard. Thank you, Mr. Divine, for being here on the show. I always enjoy talking to the panelists, and I always enjoy listening to your inputs. God bless you for taking time off your busy schedule to be on this program. Also, I want to thank my listeners, my audience, wherever you are. Thank you for tuning in. We are always live. It's always live on YouTube and Facebook, 7 p.m. UK time. Invite a friend, invite a family member to join us. Put in your questions and your comments, and we'll do our best to read them. And if you've got any questions, we will answer them, pass it on to our panelists to answer them. So thank you for your time, and thank you for tuning in. This program is brought to you by Pro Forum UK. Pro Forum UK. If you want to be a member, you can go to our Facebook page. It's Have Your Take Media, and you get in contact with us. We will direct you to the executives, and then they will take you through the process. As I said earlier, if you've got any business that you want us to promote or advertise for you, you can also get in contact with us, and we'll do our very best to promote you and promote your business. God bless you, and God bless our home not Ghana. Good evening to everyone. Bye for now.